Technology can be our best friend. Technology can also be the biggest party pooper of our lives. It interrupts our own story, interrupts our ability to have a thought or a daydream, to imagine something wonderful, because we're too busy bridging the walk from the cafeteria back to the office on a cell phone. Steven Spielberg. Today I'm going to talk to you about technology and whether it isolates or connects people. Today there are more than 80,000 education apps available through download through Apple's App Store. 72% of those are aimed at toddlers and preschoolers. Ian Brimmer. We're getting them hooked young and masking it as beneficial, but as the rest of the article, Davos 2016, How Technology is Shaping Our World, states, the link between technology and educational performance is murky at best. The OECD found that across more than 40 countries, students who use computers for schoolwork, but for slightly below average amount of time, tend to do better than average on reading exams. Students who spend an above average amount of time on a computer at school performed worse on the same test, scoring lower than students who don't use computers at all. I grew up in that sweet spot between a life with and without technology. My childhood was filled with days running outside, playing with friends, and then going inside and playing with technology. My classes quickly transitioned from pen and paper to keyboard and mouse. I've seen both sides of the grass, and they aren't as equally green. Imagine you wake up on a Saturday morning, the familiar buzz of an alarm clock. You get up and go eat breakfast. And there's a knock on the door. It's your friend Timmy. He wants to know if you can come outside and play. You ask your parents, they say go have fun, check in at lunch. You're outside, and sometimes inside. Timmy got a new game, and you go in for a bit to check it out. Now picture the same day. You wake up to a digital bird chirping, and you immediately grab your phone and check it. Timmy has asked if you're doing anything and wants to hang out. You think for a moment and decide you'd rather not. You have nothing else planned, and Timmy has done nothing wrong. You're just content to sit and stare at a screen all day. And since you have that tiny screen between you and Timmy, you don't feel bad blowing him off. First, I want to discuss how the social connection is disconnecting through social media. Next, I'm going to talk about the death of human touch. And then I'll touch on how we could be making ourselves lonelier via technology. As I mentioned earlier, Timmy was blown off in favor of connecting via technology, more specifically, social media. Social media has had a negative effect on political and civic participation, has been linked to antisocial tendencies and issues of mental health, as well as self-esteem, and has helped in the decline of empathy for others and social action. In her article, Does Online Social Media Lead to Social Connection or Social Disconnection? Jean M. Twing states, a study of 12 to 18-year-olds in Hong Kong found that those who use the internet more hours a week were more likely to engage in antisocial and delinquent behavior, and less likely to help others. Since the advent of social media, there has been an increase in cyberbullying, sometimes resulting in suicides. We have also seen that while people might be passionate about political topics online, they very rarely engage offline. Self-esteem is further broken down when you think of how scared we are of missing out, and we find ourselves drowning in the information streams that we welcomed into our daily lives, says Christopher Lockwood, author of the chapter My Digital State. When we use technology, we might feel like we're connecting, but we're disconnecting with those around us, and sometimes with those closest to us. A study was done in 2012 by the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and it showed that people who use the internet habitually showed similar connections between their nerve ending in their brain as alcoholics and other addicts do. Chris Morris voiced concern in his article, Is Technology Killing the Human Touch?, saying, that can impact communications, relationships, and day-to-day interactions with others. We also don't have time to make the effort when it comes to meeting new people. Instead of working up the courage to talk to someone, we can pick them out like a meal at a restaurant. And if it doesn't work out, there's a near endless stream of other potential mates to choose from. Just one swipe away, says Chris Morris. When we remove the human touch, we start to feel an ever-growing loneliness. There's been a large number of artificial intelligences created in the attempt to mimic human interaction. And this has not been met with great success. It might actually be making it worse. We have become a click-and-collect society with ATMs, self-checkouts at grocery stores, ticket kiosks, online ordering and delivery, and even using digital catalogs at libraries. Being a digital society has decreased the physical day-to-day interactions, and in turn has reduced our opportunities to connect. We are worried about technology increasing unemployment due to automation, but we never stop to think about it decreasing human connection. Fully autonomous driverless vehicles will certainly remove the everyday chit-chat between taxi driver and passenger. Such everyday contacts, often referred to as weak ties, have been shown to provide important support, particularly to those at risk of social isolation, says Chris Allen in his article, How the Digitalization of Everything is Making Us More Lonely. To conclude, I have discussed how the social connections are disconnecting through social media. I've talked about the death of the human touch, and I've touched on how we are making ourselves lonelier via technology. Technology is a double-edged sword. If we are not careful, we could find ourselves on the wrong end of it and completely out of touch with each other. Andrea Rodriguez says in her article, Technology is Destroying the Quality of Human Interaction. I had a terrible nightmare the other night. Instead of meeting for a quick cup of coffee, my friend and I spent 30 minutes texting back and forth about our day. After that, instead of going in to talk to my professor during his office hours, I emailed him from home with my question. Because of this, he never got to know who I was, even though he would have been a great source for a letter of recommendation if he had. I ignored a cute guy at the bus stop asking me the time because I was busy responding to a text. And I spent far too much time on Facebook, trying to catch up with my 1,000+ friends, most of whom I rarely see, and whose meaning sadly seems to dispel even more as the sheer number of connections I've made grows. Oh wait, that wasn't a dream. This technological detachment is becoming today's reality. Thank you.